Hello, my name is Distro. This is a tutorial on Osiris for the first cannon launch, which is used in both easy and legendary speedruns. First of all, to practice it, if you wait in this hallway, you get a checkpoint. If you don't get it, just get a bit close to the ice wall, and then move back and you should get a checkpoint. This is not a problem because the cannon starts spinning once you approach it, so you have enough time to prepare for the practice. Anyway, I will show what trick I'm talking about. In a speed run, it looks like this.
Prometheus, all sides. We could push right up the middle. That would be rough. Might want to consider flanking them. Move smart. Fire with a purpose.
You go out of bounds into the building and can push the button from behind, which I will show later. Anyway, I will explain how this trick works. You have to go fast if you want to do the first cycle. Wait for it to spin, and I usually align with this piece of grass. I sprint and jump, pull a bit to the, hold the stick a bit to the right, and then hold forward. That's important. Also, another important thing is to let go of a sprint in mid-air. The trick is to not go too far right, because that will just not launch you or launch into the rock or something, which makes you die, or just launch somewhere completely different. And not go too far to the left, because you will just die. I will show what it looks like if you go too far to the left, for instance. That's what happens. And if you go too far to the right, you get launched like that. Actually, this one still works, but you get the idea. Sometimes you get launched into the rock and then get ricocheted back there and die. This one would have actually worked. Now the thing about this trick is that the launches you can get are very random sometimes. What you have to try to do is to adjust by thrustering, which takes a bit of practice, but if you have the general idea of where you have to go, it works. You try to ground pound into this area more or less. And it's a bit tricky here. Sometimes you land up there and you can go to the bottom like that, but it's a bit more complicated. I will show the easier route here. If you land somewhere around here, you put a stick to the left, you go to the right, you'll fall off and die. You just follow this route, you see this metal thing, you just follow that. And sprint up this edge and then just try to thrust your ground pound into there where the button is. Looks like that. It's easier by ground pound, you have more control in midair. Now we're currently out of bounds behind the button, and there's another skip coming up right after you push it. This is a bit tricky, but once you understand how it works, it's easy to execute. There's a few things you have to keep in mind. The first thing is you have to stay close to the button. Not very close, but if you go too far, you will warp inside the building, which loses time. If you're a bit close to it and push it, there is a loading done message on the bottom left of the screen appearing, and when that happens you can clamber onto this section and jump behind the door, successfully skipping the door. If you don't do that, or if you go too fast, you will be warped back inside the building, which loses time. So it looks like this. You push the button, you wait for the loading done. And then you just go quickly, like this. If you're too slow, you can get stuck in the rock or something. And then the run is dead. But if you time it correctly, like if you know where you have to jump, it needs a bit of practice. Just wait for the loading done and then just jump up there. and go thrust above the door to the outside. You should be fine. Also, after that, the area that follows might or might not load a bit later. It depends. Sometimes the loads are faster for no reason. Waiting for the loading. Skipping the door like this. You see the area is not loaded, but after a while it gets loaded and you can run through usually. Successfully having skipped the door.